In my last video, I covered that AMD so far considers the RX 6600 XT and soon the 6600 minor wins against Nvidia's Ampere mid-range series. No, they wouldn't be fantastic price-performance products for upgrades in any other year. But unfortunately, this is 2021, and they are competitive against the current 3060 series, which, if we look at the latest benchmarks emerging right now, I gotta say, the 3060 really ain't aging so hotly, at least not in the resolutions you would actually buy these lower-end cards for. Well, yeah, part of the response from Nvidia will be a 2060 12GB, launching in Q1 most likely. But I have to say, in that video, I kind of oversimplified the point of the 2060. You see, that video was just kind of telling you pricing, volume, everything I can about the 6600 that I haven't seen other people confirm, and then also confirm that, yeah, the 2060 is coming back. I don't know about you, but that at least surprises me a little bit. Now, it's not just coming back, though, to combat the 6600 or Navi 24 for that matter. The 2060 is also coming back as an offering for miners to dissuade them, hopefully, from buying some of the newer models with its extra VRAM. And then also, it's coming back to combat Intel Arc. But of course, that won't be the only card coming in the mid-range to combat Intel Arc. Will it? Although there is a lot of seemingly conflicting information swirling around regarding what types of TIs and Supers Nvidia will be bringing out late this year or more likely early next year, and I want to talk about them for a second. You see, I am told, for example, that this chart here from Video Cards was fairly accurate. And this is from people that I trust. These are people that have got me very specific, good info that turned out correct multiple times before. Yet, I'm also told by other people that I really trust that this 3090 Ti thing here, this is also true, that there are designs for something that's not called Super, but a 90 Ti, a 400 watt plus new flagship. And me personally, I have several AIBs telling me they expect the 2060 12GB early next year and some sort of Super series soon. And the reasoning for any of these SKUs is there, to be clear. Igor, I find, actually does a good job of summing it all up. You see, you'll have an upgraded 3090 potentially for if AMD ever officially launches that 6900 XTX reference model to consumers, not just for like OEMs and pre-builts. You know, that card is a solid 10% better than the 6900 XT, and I have no doubt that if there were widespread reviews of that model, that it would definitely be found to be stronger than a stock 3090 on multiple websites. And Nvidia might not like that. Might. But also, there's the 3070 Super, and this is basically just a 3070 Ti according to Igor, except, well, there's not really 2GB chips of GDR6X. They had to use some elaborate like clamshell system to get it to work on a 3090, and that was expensive. So the idea of a 3070 Super, according to Igor and according to a couple people I've talked to, might be, this is just one option, to simply take the full GA104 die and put GDR6 on it. Basically, a faster version of the A4000, and then just discontinue some of the other 3070 offerings, which, if you look at that model there, something just below a 3070 Ti in performance, but with more VRAM, this is clearly directly meant to compete with the top art card, which I'm excited to confirm. One of my sources that was holding out for a while now also confirms that Intel should be able to directly compete with the 3070 series, maybe even beat the 3070 Ti, and that these segments from my leak are looking very accurate right now. And actually, if you go back to Igor's article and read around, or just ask him, by the way, he also seems to believe that Intel is going to threaten the 3070 with a 16GB card, and that's why Nvidia is bringing out something to directly compete with it. And, you know, Igor has an excellent track record, yet he also seems to be unsure of the exact SKUs. And at the same time, there's a lot of other people here with excellent track records, like Copite, that seem to not be sure. So what's going on? Well, this is something, again, bringing him up, Igor actually talks about in his article. Guys, Nvidia can launch any of these cards with different kinds of cuts, whenever they want to, with whatever names they want to. There's nothing stopping them from calling it a Super or a TI, from disabling a couple SMs or 4. These are all things NVIDIA can decide when they're sure how they want to segment things. And honestly, this confusion about where the VRAM will be segmented and what the name will be, I think some of this is intentional confusion, that NVIDIA knows where the usual people are that leak stuff from them, and they're just kind of reverse engineering where these leaks are coming from out of their company and throwing out misinformation here and there. And that at the end of the day, it's easy for them to do this because probably almost all of these things we're seeing are things they're considering doing. They just haven't made the decision yet. But I want to be very clear about something. Whether this is a 3090 Ti or a 3090 Super, this is a real design being considered at NVIDIA right now. This 400-watt monstrosity. Now, I can't promise they'll launch it, and I know some sources that think they won't because it's just insane, but they're considering it, and they definitely, I know, want to redo some of their 3060 and 3070 segmentation. Those segments are all jumbled up and confusing for consumers right now. You have like a 3060 that costs more to make than a 3060 Ti, and they don't even want to sell the 3060 Ti because yields have improved and they'd rather sell you a 3070 for $1,000. No, they need to redo the 3060 and 3070 segmentation for those reasons. And also, I feel, just as importantly, for the laptop refreshes coming. Ampere hasn't been that impressive of a series for laptop buyers, and this is at the same time that AMD's efficiency is at the same level or above NVIDIA, and, well, of course, Intel is about to enter the scene with Intel Arc that is launching on laptop before their desktop models, and launching when? What's also coming out in Q1? Alder Lake Mobile, which will be a big splash in the laptop scene. And also next to AMD's Rembrandt Zen 3 Plus APUs. You see what's going on here? No matter what happens on desktop, no matter if people just buy up whatever NVIDIA puts on Newegg, you have to understand that OEMs will be refreshing their laptop models for Arc, Alder Lake, and Rembrandt, and that AMD likely has a 6-nanometer refresh coming for laptop and desktop, and that they're already ahead of NVIDIA in efficiency. This means NVIDIA needs to redo at least their mobile lineup. Intel can bundle their cards with their CPUs, and Intel's known to work very well, actually, with OEMs at helping them design the laptops and the special cooling that is needed to make their processors, well, to get the best out of them. And you would assume they'll do the same for CPU-GPU combos that they can now offer, both of them to OEMs. And while AMD is definitely behind in their OEM outreach to Intel, they can bundle with Rembrandt 6-nanometer RDNA 2. NVIDIA's really at a risk of being pushed out of laptop here. And from what I'm told, a lot of OEMs aren't going to shed a tear. They hate working with NVIDIA. They're a pain to work with. They're arrogant. They blame you if anything goes wrong. They never take any of the responsibility. And so, well, what do you do if you don't really have any carrots to offer? Well, as Igor also alluded to in that article, bringing him up again, you pull out a stick. Now, this is where I get to what I believe is the biggest bombshell in this video, and that's confirming that NVIDIA is working on some sort of reinvention of the GPP program to work against Intel. Now, for those who don't remember, the GeForce Partner Program was something that NVIDIA was arrogant enough to put into writing that basically said only they can be seen as a premium brand, and that if you didn't do what they wanted you to, they would pull allocation and just make life hard for you. And actually, I want to be clear about this. This isn't something NVIDIA hasn't done before. And I'm not talking about other manipulation, like Ampere pricing manipulation that I covered, nor flooding cards around a competitor's launch. Those are all things that they do all the time as well. I'm saying literally the GeForce Partner Program uproar was not the only time they have threatened to cut allocation if a partner works with a competitor. NVIDIA does this all the time from what I'm told. Basically, if you don't do this thing we liked you did, Yeah, I guess actually we just couldn't get you that shipment on time. It's a month late now. I'm told directly by multiple AIBs and OEMs that this is something NVIDIA indirectly threatens all the time, that they want preferential treatment and that they will make it so you profit less if you don't work closely with them. The reason the GeForce Partner Program blew up in their face is they put it into writing. And by the way, has anyone gone back and read what NVIDIA's justification for the GeForce Partner Program was? It's absolutely hilarious. They claim that this was about making branding clear to consumers. And by that, I guess they mean making it so only they get the premium brands. And I can't help but laugh even harder when I see them say that their partners agreed with them, that this didn't change their partners' ability to control anything. Yeah, I've talked to your partners, NVIDIA. They felt like you put a gun to their fucking head and they hated this. And by the way, they hate what you're already trying to do to Intel Arc. But guess what? Intel controls laptops, not you. Now you're in trouble. Which, it's just funny. You know, I also got to say this before I move forward with what's going on against Intel. It's like 1 year after that NVIDIA's Ultimate Play article, and all I can say is that that's not intentional. You know, I've done in-depth looks at Intel's monopolistic practices, and I try to spank AMD when I see them doing something I don't agree with anytime I can. But the fact is, as luck would have it, 1 year after the NVIDIA's Ultimate Play situation, I have another thing coming out that they're trying to do against Intel, and all I can say is it just seems to be NVIDIA's nature, always trying to do monopolistic things. I'm not trying to have a bombshell come out 1 year after the previous one. That's not even actually, I don't even think it's like my third most successful video, but it's just what's happening and I'm going to report on it. Although, unfortunately, I'm not going to put it into an article this time because, well, I just think it's too dangerous to do any specific quotes that I have, and the details being provided aren't as widespread as what they were a year ago for that Ultimate Play. And that's by design. NVIDIA isn't going to put anything into writing, but it's hilarious how uniform every AIB I've talked to recently is saying that, oh, this is GPP all over again. Basically, NVIDIA wants the most premium coolers and branding names, you know, from the top AIB models. Like, I guess an example would be like MSI Lightning, although I'm not saying, I have someone from MSI saying that specifically, you know, but that's an example of like a premium top end line from MSI. NVIDIA is saying we don't want to see the best coolers on Arc. We don't want to see the top branding names on Arc. And if you do this, well, it looks like you're going to get less shipments from us over the next 6 months. They want to make it clear, or they're going to try to do as much as they can to make it look like Intel's cards are just not high-end compared to NVIDIA's cards. And that while it's not in writing, there have been nudges in like multiple meetings with people at NVIDIA and AIBs, multiple AIBs recently, where NVIDIA's reps are basically making it clear, make sure people know we're premium if you want us to keep having a good relationship. You know, real mobster sounding crap like that. That's what's going on. And it's because NVIDIA is threatened. NVIDIA knows that Intel has real brand recognition. You know, it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine here who was new and doesn't really know what I do. And I tried to explain, well, I'm not really a YouTuber. I kind of like give opinions and analyze things that AMD and NVIDIA do. And this person said, oh, okay, so you like talk about chips? And then I said, oh, I analyze Intel products. And they said, oh, computers and the components in them. You see, Intel's got a level of brand recognition that AMD just can't seem to get to with Radeon. But NVIDIA knows that everyone will recognize that when people go into, say, a Best Buy and see a Intel Arc graphics card with 16 gigabytes, that they're really worried the average consumer will just buy that without thinking twice, especially if they know they have an Intel system. And let's be honest, most people still have Intel systems. This is something that NVIDIA is going to fight tooth and nail to at least make Intel's cards look as low-end compared to theirs as they can. And it's because, well, Nvidia does not like to lose, and they will do anything they can to make sure they don't. You know, to put it another way, if I'm Jensen Wang, I can just look around and say, oh man, Intel Arc might not succeed, but it's at the very least a wild card. You know, RDNA 2 may have surprised us, but who cares? And AMD's beaten us before multiple times. We've always outsold them, so I don't think AMD's going to have enough mind share for a while to compete with us. We don't have to worry about that. But Intel, God, their mind share just feels endemic to this industry. And as Pat Gelsinger is saying publicly, Intel is back. Jensen knows that there is a chance Intel's GPU mind share is 0, but there's also a chance it's just naturally very high because they're Intel. They're a huge threat to their laptop and mid-range shipments in a way that AMD really hasn't been able to ever be. And yeah, Intel's very good at holding laptop market share. So it's funny. I guess what I would close this video on, and a more optimistic note, is I remember way long ago, earlier in my channel's life, when I concluded that Radeon and Nvidia were going to have a hard fight with Ampere versus RDNA 2, and that it was like Godzilla fighting another monster. You know, let them fight. But at the end of the day, AMD may be rising, but they are no Godzilla yet. But Intel, oh yeah, they're Godzilla. And I think what we really need isn't AMD and Nvidia to fight for competition, but Nvidia and Intel. And these monopolistic moves I'm seeing coming out of Nvidia all of a sudden, again, even after getting punished for them before, they're threatened. And we're about to see two juggernauts that can actually fight each other fight. So that's going to just about do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, at the end of the day, this was what I had on that whiteboard for a while, the NVIDIA's Ultimate Play 2022. And to be honest, I'm guessing this is just one of a couple Ultimate Plays they will conduct next year. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that then. You know, NVIDIA's coming for Intel. They're going to do whatever they can to win. And I just can't help but feel Intel's not going to roll over and take it, or Intel has the capabilities to fight it in a way AMD never really has been able to. And hopefully this means NVIDIA stops bullying so many people around so easily. But all of that analysis and talking about the future things that are about to happen, those will have to be other videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. Moore's Law is dead. Ring the bell button so you don't miss those upcoming videos with analysis and leaks on upcoming products. And I don't know, tell people about the channel. Give me a super thanks if you can. This will go directly towards paying me, Gerard, Dan, hopefully a new full-time renderer for making a look at some of the products I'm being told about that I can't quite get literal pictures of. And, well, really the best way to support us is, of course, on Patreon, where you get early ad-free content, exclusive podcasts every week, and the ability to ask me and guest questions. All of that is out there for those of you who want the extra integration with the community or to support something you love. And otherwise, for everybody, no matter what, as always, thank you for watching.